This is the A panel that we're up right now. Right now I should have Daniel, Dee Dee, Robert, Crystal, Aaron, Lori, and Kurt. That's it. The B panel, at the end of 3 rounds, you will then go to work. All right, divers, your dive order is on the wall behind there. Also, right now I have a couple of people that are up on that walkway up behind the 3-meter boards. If you guys could move out from behind the boards, that would be much appreciated from the divers. So, and then we also don't want to really have people walking behind the boards while people are trying to compete. So if we have those kinds of things help the divers out, that'd be awesome. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is start reading from left to right on the far side, and then read left to right on the near side. We should have Daniel, Dee Dee, Robert, Crystal, Aaron, Lori, and Kurt right now. That's it. Thank you, Lord. Okay, divers, especially when we're on the 3-meter, if you can start climbing that ladder after the diver ahead of you goes, that'd be very helpful for the flow of the contest. Without further ado, Kerry Yamada, Solano College, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Okay, scores. 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 4, 5, and 4 1/2. Juliana Simoneko, American River, 101B, forward dive pike, on deck Diane. Scores 3, 4, 4, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 4. Diana Tavalis, Dianza, 101B, forward dive pike, on deck Jade. Scores 4, 4, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4. Jade Standing, Clovis, 103C, forward 1 1/2 tuck, on deck Andrea. Scores 4, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 4, 3 1/2. Andrea Probert, San Diego Mesa, 401B, inward dive pike, on deck Millennia. Scores. 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Millennium Milburn, Sierra, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. On deck, Alexa. Scores. 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 5 1/2. Alexa Martinez, Sierra, 101B, forward dive pipe. On deck, Jean. Scores. 3, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 3, 3, 3. Jean Liu, El Camino, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. On deck, Kaylee. Scores. 6, 6, 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 5. Kaylee Root, Alan Hancock, 103B, forward, 1 1/2 pipe. On deck, Maya. Scores. 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5. Maya Fielding, San Diego Mesa, 40BC, forward, or excuse me, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. On deck, Alejandra.
Oh, you're not gonna love to.
Scores. 5, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 4. Alejandra Gomez, Cyprus, 103B, forward, 1 1/2 pipe. On deck, Jessica. Scores. 7, 7, 7 1/2, 7, 6, 7 1/2, 7 1/2. Jessica Herdivai, San Joaquin Delta, 103C, forward, 1 1/2 tuck. On deck, Athena. Scores. 4, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Athena Katsaridis, El Camino, 301B, reverse dive pipe. On deck, Lauren. Scores. 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 5 1/2. Lauren Bear, Sierra, 102C, forward, somersault tuck. On deck, Ashley. Scores. 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Ashley Detman, San Diego Mesa, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. On deck, Michaela. Scores 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 6. Michaela Schilling, San Diego Mesa. 401B, inward dive pipe. On deck, Angelique.
It is really nice.
Scores 6, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 6, 6, 5. Angelique Pasadakis, Shasta, 101C, forward dive tuck. On deck, Lizzie. Scores 4, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2. Lizzie Walls, Santa Rosa, 101B, forward dive pipe. On deck, Sarah. Scores 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6. Sarah Duke, Saddleback. 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. On deck, Jack. Scores 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 7, 7, 7. Jack Suka, San Diego Mesa. 403C, inward 1.5 tuck. On deck, Greg. Scores 5, 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5. Greg Chafee, 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. On deck, Henry. Scores 2 1/2, 2 1/2, 3, 3, 3, 2 1/2, 3. Henry Helen, Santa Monica. 403B, inward 1.5 pipe. On deck, Jalen. Scores 4 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Jalen Neal, Clovis, 101C, forward dive tuck. On deck, Vaughn. Scores 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 6, 5 1/2. Vaughn Kennedy, Sierra, 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. On deck, Cole. Scores 4, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5. Cole Gerard, Orange Coast, 103B, forward 1.5 pike. On deck, Jensen. Scores 5, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5. Jensen Wagenleitner, Clovis, 201C, back dive tuck. On deck, Tommy. Repeat that once more. Okay, that's a 201C, a back dive tuck. Okay, so a 202C. Scores 4, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4, 3 and 1/2. Tommy K, Sierra, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. On deck, John. Scores 3, 3, 3, 3 and 1/2, 3, 3, 3. John Rios Brady, San Diego Mesa, 403B, inward 1.5 pike. On deck, Jake. Scores 7, 7 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 8 and 1/2, 8. Jake Norman, College of Sequoias, 403B, inward 1.5 pike. On deck, Jeff. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6. Jeff Rebrick, Saddleback, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. On deck, Sawyer. Scores 6, 6 and 1/2, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6. Sawyer Nordell, Sierra, 101B, forward dive pike. On deck, Josh. Scores 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2. Josh Rosenbaum, San Diego Mesa, 403C, inward 1.5 tuck. On deck, Alex. Scores 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Alex Watson, Santa Monica, 105B, forward 2 1/2 pipe. On deck, Noah. Scores. 5 5, 4 1/2, 5 5 5 5. Noah Luna, Chafee, 301B, reverse dive pipe. On deck, Josh.
He said
Scores. 8 7 8, 8 1/2, 8 8 7. Josh Hamby, San Joaquin Delta, 105B, forward 2 1/2 pipe. On deck, Devin. Scores. 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 8 8. Devin McLaughlin, American River, 401C, inward dive tuck. On deck, Jose. Scores. 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 6 6. Jose Espinoza, San Joaquin Delta, 5111A, forward dive with a half twist, straight. On deck, Carey. Scores. 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 4. Beginning round 2, Carey, 103B, forward 1 1/2 pipe. Scores. 4 3, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 4 4. Juliana, 103B, forward 1 1/2 pipe. Scores. 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2. Diane, 5111B, forward dive with a half twist, pipe. Scores. 1 1/2, 3, 2 1/2, 3, 2 1/2, across. Jade, 202C, back somersault tuck. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2. 4 and 1/2, across. Andrea. 201C, back dive tuck. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 5, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4. Pardon me for just a second. Sir, standing behind the 3 meter, could you please move up on the upper deck? Thank you. Okay, Elena, 203C, back 1.5 tuck. Scores. 1 and 1/2, 3, 3. 1 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3, 3. Alexa, 103C, forward, 1.5 tuck. Scores. 3, 4, 3. 3, 3, 3, 2 and 1/2. Pardon me, you people that are standing on the upper deck right behind the diving boards, if you could not be there, the divers would greatly appreciate it. If you are standing behind the diving boards on the upper deck, if you could move to the side, the divers will greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, Jean. 203C, back 1.5 tuck. Scores. 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2. Kaylee, 303C, reverse 1.5 tuck. Scores. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 and 1/2, 2, 2 and 1/2. Maya, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores. 5, 6, 6. 6 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. 6, 5 and 1/2. Alejandra, 203B, back 1.5 pipe. Scores. 6, 5 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2. Jessica, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores. 6 and 1/2, 6. Is that a 5 or 6? 6. Okay, and then 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 7. Okay, Athena, 203C, back 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2. Lauren, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 4, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4. Ashley, 203B, back 1.5 pipe. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 4, 3 and 1/2, 3, 4 and 1/2, 4, 3 and 1/2. Michaela, 201B, back dive pipe. Scores. 5, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 4, 3 and 1/2. Angelique, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5. Lizzie, 202A, back somersault straight. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. 5, 6, 6, 6. Sarah, 104B, forward, double somersault pike, on deck jack. Scores. 5, 4, 4, 5, 5 1/2, 4, 4 1/2. Jack, 204C, back, double somersault tuck. Scores. Three, 2, 3 1/2, 4, 3, 3 1/2. Gray, 105C, forward, 2 1/2 tuck. Scores. 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. 4 1/2, 5, 5, 5. Henry, 302C, reverse, somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2 across. Jalen, 202C, back somersault tuck. That was a 202C. Scores. 2, 2 1/2, 1 1/2. 4, 2 1/2, 2, 2. Vaughn, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores. 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3, 3, 3. Cole, 105C, forward, 2 1/2 tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, is that a 3 1/2 or 3? 3 1/2 is the second score. 4 1/2, 4, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Jensen, 204C, back, double somersault tuck. Scores. 3, 2 1/2, 2 1/2. 3 across. Divers, especially on the 3 meter, if the person ahead of you goes, please be ready to climb that ladder. Tommy, 302C, reverse, somersault tuck. Scores. 4, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4, 5. John, 405C, inward 2.5 tuck. Scores 4 and 1/2, 6, 6 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5. Jake, 405C, inward 2.5 tuck. Scores half, 1 and 1/2, 2, 1 and 1/2, 1, 2, 2. Jeff, 105C, forward 2.5 tuck. Scores 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5. Sawyer, 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. Scores 5, 5, 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Josh, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores 6, 6, 6. Bingo. There we go. Alex, 403B, inward 1.5 pipe. Scores 6 and 1/2, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6. Noah, 105B, forward 2.5 pipe. Scores 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7, 7 and 1/2, 7, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Josh, 107C, forward 3.5 tuck. Scores 6, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5 1/2. Devon, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 4. Jose, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 4, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2. Beginning round 3, carry, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1, excuse me, start again. Score number 1, 4, 2 1/2, 4 1/2, 2 1/2, 4, 4, 3. Juliana, 202A, back, somersault straight. Scores. 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2. Diane, 401B, inward dive pike. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 4, 4. Jade, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 3, 3 1/2, 4, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 3, 3. Andrea, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 5, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 6, 4, 4 1/2. Elena, 403C, inward 1 1/2 tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Alexa, 202B, back somersault pike. Scores. 4, 2 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4, 3. Gene, 52, 31D, back 1 1/2 with a half twist. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4, 3 1/2, 4, 4. Yes, can I have the scores one more time, please? Thank you. Okay, 4 1/2, 4, 4. Third score was a 4, 4, 3 1/2, 4, 4. Okay, Kaylee, 202A, back somersault straight. Scores. 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4. Maya, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 5, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3. Alejandra, 303C, reverse, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores. 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 6, 6. Jessica, 202C, back somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5. Athena, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 5, 6, 5, 5, 5, 5 1/2. Lauren, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 5, 4, 5, 5. Ashley, 301B, reverse dive pike. Scores 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6 and 1/2, 5, 5. Michaela, 301B, reverse dive pipe. Scores 4, 3 and 1/2, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 3. Angelique, 402C, inward, somersault tuck. Scores 5, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6, 5, 6. Lizzie, 401B, inward dive pipe. Scores 5, 4, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 4, 4 and 1/2. Sarah, 203C, back 1.5 tuck on deck jack. Scores 4, 4, 4, 5, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4. Jack, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 4. Greg, 203A, back 1.5 straight. Scores 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4. Henry, 201C, back dive tuck. Scores 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 6. Jalen, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores 4, 3 and 1/2, 3, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2. Vaughn, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 3 1/2, 4, 4. Cole, 51-34D, forward 1 1/2, 2 twists. Scores. 4, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 2 1/2, 5, 3, 3. Jensen, 304C, reverse, double somersault tuck. Scores. 4, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3. Tommy, 401B, inward dive pike. Scores. 3 1/2, 3, 3. 3 1/2, 3, 3, 3. John, 201B, back dive pike. Scores. 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 8 1/2, 9, 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 7 1/2. Jake, 105B, forward 2 1/2 pike. Scores. 4, 4, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5, 4 1/2. Jeff, 204C, back, double somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4, 6, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5. Sawyer, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, across. Josh, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2, 3 1/2. Alex, 405C, inward 2 1/2 tuck.
Go, Alex!
Scores. 1, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 1 1/2, 2, 1 1/2. Can I have the last 4 by scores, please? 2 1/2, 1 1/2, 2, 1 1/2. Okay, thank you very much. Noah, 51-32D, forward 1 1/2 with 1 twist. Scores. 7, 7, 7 1/2, 8 1/2, 8, 8, 7. Josh, 205C, back, 2 1/2 tuck. Scores. 6 1/2, 7, 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Devin, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 5, 4, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2. Jose, 401C, inward dive tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5. Last score, 5. Okay, panel B, please. Carrie, Doug, Hannah, Logan, still there in his ref position. Shane, Ryan, Caden, Mike. Yes. All right, we're ready to start round 4. Carry. 202A, back somersault straight. Scores. 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5. Juliana, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 5, 4, 4 1/2. Diane, 5411B, inward dive, half twist, pike. Scores. 2, 3, 2 1/2, 3, 3, 3 1/2, 2. Jade, 401C, inward dive tuck.
The unit itself? Yeah. I pulled that's what they are.
Yes, all you people, yeah, thank you. You're right behind the board in your vision. And when the gentlemen dive, hold on please. When the gentlemen are diving 3 meter, you'll also be right behind that. So if you can find a place on the side, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. You'll have to be farther over than that when the men get up there. Thank you. Scores. 5, 5, 6, 6, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Andrea, 101B, forward dive pike. Scores. 5, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 5, 4. Milena, 303C, reverse, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores. 7, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Alexa, 301C, reverse dive tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2. Jean, 5223D, back somersault, 1 1/2 twist. Scores. 6, 5, 4 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 5. Kaylee, 52-23D, back somersault, 1.5 twists. Scores. 5 and 1/2, 5, 6, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. Maya, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores. Okay, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2. Alejandra, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scores. 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7, 6, 6 and 1/2, 6. Jessica, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, across. Athena, 51-22D, forward somersault, 1 twist. Scores. 6, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 5. Lauren, 401C, inward dive tuck. Scores. 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Ashley, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores. 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 5. Michaela, 103B, forward, 1.5 pipe. Scores. 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7, 7. Angelique, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 4, 4, 3 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 1/2. Lizzie, 51-22D. Forward somersault, 1 twist. Scores 5, 3 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Sarah, 303C, reverse, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 6, 4 1/2. Jack, 103C, forward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores. That was it, 103C. 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4. 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4. Gray, 301B, reverse dive pipe. Scores 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Henry, 103B, forward, 1 1/2 pipe. Scores 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Jalen, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores 5, 6 1/2, 6, 7, 6 1/2, across. Vaughn, 401C, inward dive tuck. Scores 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 5, across. Cole, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5. Jensen, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores 5 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5. Tommy. Okay, the last three. The last three. Four, one, done again. Tommy, 403C, inward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2 across. John, 301B, reverse dive pipe. Scores. 7 1/2, 8, 7 1/2, 9, 7, 8 1/2, 6 1/2. Jake, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 6 1/2, 6, 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5. Jeff, 304C, reverse double somersault tuck.
Stay there.
Scores. 6, 4, 5 1/2, 6, 5, 4, 5. Sawyer, 302C, reverse somersault tuck. Scores. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4 1/2. Josh, 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. Scores. 4, 5, 4, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4. Alex, 203A, back 1.5 straight. Scores. 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Noah, 5134D, forward 1.5, 2 twists. Scores. 7-5. 7-1. Second score was what, a 5 or a 6? It was a 5, okay. Third score, please. 7.5. Thank you. 8, 7, 6, 5 1/2. Okay, Josh, 305C, reverse, 2.5 tuck. Scores. 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3 1/2. Devin, 103C, forward 1.5, tuck. Scores. 3 1/2, 4, 3 1/2, 4, 3 1/2, 2 1/2, 4. Jose, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2. Beginning round 5. Carry, 52, 23D, back somersault, 1.5 twists. Scores. 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3 1/2. Juliana, 401B, inward dive pipe. Scores. 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Diane, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 3, 3 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 3, 2 1/2, 3. Jade, 5211A, back dive, half twist straight. Scores. 4, 3 1/2, 3, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2. Andrea, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4. Elena, 53, 25D, reverse somersault, 2.5 twists. Scores 2.5, 3, 3 and 1/2. Can I have the scores again, please? Thank you. We'll start over on our reading. Okay, starting from the beginning. 2 and 1/2, 3, 3, 1 and 1/2, 2, 1 and 1/2. Judges' scores, please. Start. Thank you. First one is 2.5. Okay, second score, 3, 3. Okay, 1 and 1/2, score number 4. 2, 1 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. All right. Alexa, 401B, inward dive pipe. Scores 4, 4, 4, 5, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5. Jean, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores 5, 4 and 1/2, 4, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2. Kaylee, 5231D, back 1.5 with a half twist. Scores 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4, 3, 4 and 1/2. Maya, 5122D, forward somersault, 1 twist. Scores 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 5, 4 and 1/2. Alejandra, 5132D, forward 1.5, 1 twist. Scores 7 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 8 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 8, 6. Jessica, 401C, inward dive tuck. Scores 5, 7, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 5. Athena, 103B, forward 1.5 pipe. Scores 6 and 1/2, 7, 7, 7, 7 and 1/2, 8, 6. Lauren, 103C, forward, 1.5 tuck. Scores. 5, 5 1/2, 4, 5 1/2, 5, 5, 4 1/2. Ashley, 52-31D, back 1.5, half twist. Scores. 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 3. Michaela, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 6 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Angelique, 201A, back dive straight. Scores. 6, 4, 5 1/2, 7, 6, 6 1/2, 5. Lizzie, 52-21D, back somersault with a half twist. Scores. 6, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2. Sarah, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scared. Scores. Yeah. 6 1/2, 6, 7, 8, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2. Off there. Okay, Jack, 105C, forward, 2.5 tuck. Scores. Okay, 3, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2 across. Greg, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 4, 4, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4. Henry, 105C, forward, 2.5 tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, across. Jalen, 51-24D, forward somersault, 2 twists. Yeah, you can. Right now is a forward somersault. 1.5. Okay, so that would be, let's see, 51.34D. Sorry, my fault, not for saying something in your mind. Go ahead, not about there. Totally my fault. Scores. 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 6, 4 1/2, 4, 4. Vaughn, 403C, inward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5 across. Cole, 204C, back, double somersault tuck. Scores. 5, 4 1/2, 5, 6, 5, 5, 4 1/2. Jensen, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3 1/2. Tommy, 203A, back 1.5 straight. Scores. 2, 4, 2 1/2, 2, 3, 2, 2 1/2. John, 105B, forward 2.5 pipe. Scores. 6, 6 1/2. 7, 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6. Jake, 302C, reverse, somersault tuck. Scores. 4 1/2, 5, 4, 3 1/2, 5, 4, 4. Jeff, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4, 4 1/2, 5, 6, 4, 4, 4 1/2. Sawyer, 401B, inward dive pipe. Scores 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 7. Josh, 105C, forward, 2.5 tuck. Scores 4, 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4. Alex, 304C, reverse, double somersault tuck. Scores 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, across. Noah, 403B, inward, 1.5 pipe. Scores 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 8, 7, 7, 7, 6. Josh, 405C, inward, 2.5 tuck. Scores 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 8, 8, 7 1/2, 6 1/2. Devin, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scores 5, 4, excuse me, starting over there. Sorry. 4, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4. Jose, 101C, forward dive tuck. Scores 5 1/2, 6, 4, 6, 4, 5, 5 1/2. Beginning our final round, divers, I just want to remind you before we go that we will be distributing some awards at the end of this within a few minutes of completion of the contest. Hopefully none of you in the top 8 will be in the showers. Okay, so be ready for that. Kerry Yamada, Solano, 403C, inward, 1.5 tuck. Scores 3 1/2, 4, 4, 5, 4, 4, 3. Juliana Shimonenko, American River, 52-21D, back somersault, half twist. Scores: 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Diane Dabilas, Dianza, 301A, reverse dive straight. Scores: 3, 3 1/2, 2 1/2, 3, 3, 3 1/2, 2. Jade Standing, Clovis, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores: 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 6, 4, 4, 3 1/2. Andrea Probert, San Diego Mesa, 52-11A, back dive, half twist, straight. Scores: 5, 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Elena Milburn, Sierra, 51-24D, forward somersault, 2 twists. Scores: 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 3, 5, 5, 5. Alexa Martinez, Sierra, 52-21D, back somersault, half twist. Scores: 2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 3, 3, 3 1/2, 3 1/2. Jean Lube, El Camino, 303C, reverse, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores: 5, 4, 4 1/2, 6, 4, 5, 4 1/2. Kaylee Rue, Alan Hancock, 403C, inward, 1 1/2 tuck. Scores: 5, 5, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5. Maya Fielding, San Diego Mesa, 103B, forward, 1 1/2 pike. Scores. 6, 6, 6 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7, 5 and 1/2. Alejandro Gomez, Cyprus, 105C, forward, 2.5 tuck. Scores. 7, 8, 7, 9, 8, 7 and 1/2, 6. Jessica Herduby, thank you very much. San Joaquin Delta, 52-21D, back somersault, half twist. Scores. 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5. Athena Katsaridis, El Camino, 104C, forward, double somersault tuck. Scores. 4, 6, 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 4. Lauren Bear, Sierra, 51-21D, forward somersault, half twist. Scores. 3 and 1/2, 4, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 4. Ashley Dettman, San Diego Mesa, 52-23D, back somersault, 1.5 twist. Scores. 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Michaela Schilling, San Diego Mesa, 51-22D, forward somersault, 1 twist. Scores. 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 4, 4, 3 and 1/2. Angelique Pasadakis, Shasta, 51-21D, forward somersault, half twist. Scores. 2, 2 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 1 and 1/2, 2. Lizzie Walls, Santa Rosa, 301B, reverse dive pike. Reverse dive. Scores. 6, 5, 3 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2. All right, let's see. Our final diver of the women's contest, Sarah Duke, saddleback. 51-32D, forward 1.5 with 1 twist. Scores. 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 4, 6, 5 1/2, 6, 4. Jack, Suka, San Diego Mesa, 52-31D, back 1.5 with a half twist. Scores. 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 5 1/2, 4 1/2. Can I start all those again? Okay, one more time from the beginning, please. 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2. Okay, Greg Bouch, Chafee, 52-31D, back 1.5 with a half twist. Scores. This was a back 1.5 with a half twist. So, correct dive? Okay. Okay. Henry Helen, Santa Monica, 52-11A, back dive, half twist straight. Scores. 5, 6, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 6, 4 1/2, 5. Jalen Neal, Clovis, 103B, forward 1.5 pike. That's a 103B. Scores. 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 2, 3, 3 1/2, 3, 4. Vaughn Kennedy, Sierra, 52-31D, back 1.5, half twist. Scores. 6, 3 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 5, 4, 5. Cole Gerard, Orange Coast, 304C, reverse, double somersault tuck. Scores. 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Score, please. Judge. 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2. Jensen, Wagon Leitner, Clovis, 51-22D, forward somersault. 1 twist. Scores 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4, 3, 5, 4 1/2, 4. Tommy K, Sierra, 52-31D, back 1.5, half twist. Scores 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2. All right, John Rios Brady, San Diego Mesa, 52-33D, back 1.5, 1.5 twists. Scores 5, 6, 5 1/2, 7, 5, 4 1/2, 5 1/2. Jake Norman, College of Sequoias, 5111B, forward dive, half twist, pipe. Scores 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 5. Jeff Rebrook, Saddleback, 52-31D, back 1.5, half twist. Scores 5 1/2, 5, 5, 6, 4 1/2, 5, 6 1/2. Sawyer Nordell, Sierra, 5211A, back dive, half twist straight. Scores 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Josh Rosenbaum, San Diego Mesa, 51-32D, forward 1.5 with 1 twist. Scores 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2, 4, 4, 4 1/2. Alex Watson, Santa Monica, 52-31D, back 1.5 with a half twist. Scores 4 1/2, 4, 4, 5, can't see it, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Noah Luna Chafee, 203B, back 1.5 pipe. Pardon me, there's people back there, I couldn't see it, but can you that are standing behind in the high level, please move? Can you please move from behind the diving boards on the upper deck level? Thank you very much. Just scores. 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5. You got a 5 1/2 or a 5? 5 1/2 would be fifth score. 4 1/2, 4. Okay, Josh Hamby, San Joaquin Delta, 53-51C. That's a reverse 2.5 tuck with a half twist. Seven, 7. Devin McLaughlin, American River, 52-11, 8. Back 5, half twist straight. Scores. 5, 5 1/2, 3 1/2, 6, 5, 4, 5. And our final dive of the day, Jose Espinoza, San Joaquin Delta, 103C, forward 1.5 tuck. Scores. 4, 4 1/2, 4, 5, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2. Thank you very much, judges. Judges, if you could please bring the scorecards back to the table. Your announcer will be very happy. Congratulations, divers. We'll have results shortly. When we are handing out Okay, divers, when we are handing awards out, we would like you to go to the space between the two 3-meter boards for your medals. All right, we are just about ready to hand out some awards. All right, divers, as we are announcing the results, for the top 8, you will be going to the space between the 2 3-meter boards. And when you come up for your medal, please stay there. You definitely want to have a group photo so that you can remember everything. Okay? All right, we're about to ready to begin. Can we please have the Cypress coach go to the space between the 2 3-meter boards for the women's event? Cypress coach. Cypress coach. Okay, this is the results of the women's 1 meter. In 19th place, Diane Tavalis Dianza, 93.70 points. In 18th, Alexa Martinez from Sierra, 100.85. In 17th, Jade Standing from Clovis, 19.85. Now in 16th place, scoring points for their team in the state championship. Angelique Pasadakis, Shasta, 16th, 128.25. In 15th, Andrea Probert, San Diego Mesa, 129.60. In 14th, Lauren Bayard, Sierra, 130.35. In 13th place, Juliana Shimonenko, American River, 143.65. In 12th, Jessica Perdubi, San Joaquin Delta, thank you very much, 147.60. In 11th, Lizzie Walls from Santa Rosa, 150.00. In 10th, Carrie Yamada from Solano, 150.80. In 9th, Kaylee Rue, Alan Hancock, 156.70. And now, your medal winners, who are also All-American by virtue of being in the top 8. Michaela Schilling, San Diego Mesa, 161.15. Michaela, make your way to space, get your medal, please. Stay there, Michaela. Michaela, stay there. Thank you very much. In 7th, Maya Fielding, San Diego Mesa College, 166.45 points. Thank you. In 6th place, Elena Milburn from Sierra, 182.65 points. In 5th place, from El Camino College, Jean Liu, 186.60 points. Also from El Camino College, Athena Katsaridis, 202.20 points. In 3rd place, Sarah Duke from Saddleback, 204.50 points. In second place, Ashley Detman from San Diego Mesa, 204.95 points. And your 2018 champion for the state of California Community College, Alejandra Gomez from Cypress, 254.10 points. Ladies and gentlemen, there are your top 8 finishers at the State Championships 2018. Congratulations, ladies. Great contest. Oh, wait, more photo ops coming. One money, you're just going to have to wait for the ladies. Got to take a lot of pictures there. All right, it looks like we're about ready for the men, so if I can get the coach from San Joaquin Delta, please. All right, while the women are finishing their final pictures, we're going to start announcing the men's results. In 18th place, Tommy K from Sierra, 114.35. In 17th, Greg Vouch, Chafee, 127.50. Scoring points for their team, 16th, Jensen Weigenleitner, Clovis, 131.00. In 15th, Jose Espinoza, San Joaquin Delta, 134.45. In 14th, Jalen Neal, Clovis, 135.40. In 13th, Vaughn Kennedy, Sierra, 136.65. In 12th, Devin McLaughlin, American River, 142.20 points. In 11th, Sawyer Nordell, Sierra, 144.70. In 10th, Jack Sukip, San Diego Mesa, 146.15. In 9th, Josh Rosenbaum, San Diego Mesa, 154.60. And now your medal winners and All-Americans. In the men's 3-meter event, Jake Norman, College of Sequoias in 8th place, 168.80. In 7th place, Cole Gerard from Orange Coast, 172.80 points. In 6th place, Henry Helen, Santa Monica, 174.35 points. In 5th place, Jeff Rubrick from Saddleback, Saddleback, 181.85 points. In 4th place, Alex Watson from Santa Monica, 186.00. In 3rd place, John Rios Brady from San Diego Mesa, 260.90. In 2nd place, Noah Luna from Chaffee, 269.20 points. And your champion for 2018, Josh Hamby from San Joaquin Delta with a dominating 301.95 points. Congratulations, divers, top 8, also All-American. Great job. All right, divers, I also have dive sheets up here with scores on them that you are welcome to come and take. Your divers or coaches, they're at the table. And then tomorrow we'll be back for more.